CybernautsPodcast. I'm Max. Steve is not available this week, and hoping he's doing well with his family duties. And this week we have a guest, LB and Amanda, who are part of Anime.me. Welcome to the podcast, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And as I understand it, both of y'all were at SakuraCon.
Yeah, all weekend.
Yeah.
Yep, that was our most exciting moment for the last few days.
I've enjoyed going to cons myself. It's pretty fun. So, what are your highlights of the weekend?
You want to go
For
first,
me-
Amanda?
Oh, yeah, sure. For me, it was definitely our interviews with Reki Kawahara, the guy who wrote Sword Art Online and Excel World. That was a really good time. And then we also got to talk with the guys who made Psycho Pass. So that was absolutely the best part for me.
Yeah, for me, I think my highlights were probably the panels that we hosted on Saturday night. We hosted 3 panels. We hosted one panel which was dedicated to our website, ani.me. That one went well. And then we also hosted a panel called Anime Making It Legal. That was all about legal streaming anime websites in the US. And then we also hosted our third panel, which was from fan to pro, and that one was all about our careers as professional geeks and how to break into the business. And I thought they all went really well. The fans were really engaged and having fun, and the fan to pro panel especially, people were really engaged and saying hi afterward and asking us questions, and I thought it was great, and I had such a blast doing it.
Wow.
Yeah, the Fan to Pro one was definitely good. That was a good time.
That sounds great.
I also really enjoyed covering the industry panels. I always have a lot of fun covering breaking news as it's happening. That's probably one of my favorite parts of my job, is going to conventions and covering the news as it happens from the industry panels. There was some good news this weekend. Aniplex announced that they're going to be releasing that obscenely expensive Gurren Lagann box set that will be coming out in Japan pretty soon. Funimation announced Psycho Pass for DVD and Blu-ray in the spring of 2014. So I thought that was really great news, and it was really fun to be able to report on that right away.
How much is that insanely expensive Gurren Lagann box set?
I don't recall how much it's going to be in the US. I know they have a set price for it. I just don't recall what it is. I know in Japan they're trying to sell it for a few $100s.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow, I remember buying way back when the Kimagure Orange Road box set from Anime Ego, and that was cost a pretty penny.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What kind of genre was the show?
Gurren Lagann?
Gurren Lagann?
Yeah.
Yeah, Tengatappa Gurren Lagann. It's mecha, sort of. I mean, it is. They're giant robots, but it's about a lot more than just giant robots. It's a very solid bromance show. And everybody I know who likes it, they like it for the I will always believe in you, bromance aspect of it. So it's a really good show, and I definitely believe that there are people out there who will plonk down money for it, for a beautiful box set.
Yeah, I mean, the Gurren Lagann box set is going to be really expensive. We're talking a few $100s expensive. And I actually laughed a little bit when I saw this on Twitter. Someone on Twitter remarked that at one point in time they thought that they would pay any price to get Gurren Lagann in a Blu-ray box set, but Aniplex may have changed their mind with how expensive it's going to be. So yeah, so I think Aniplex is really banking on that hardcore collector market. Hopefully it's still big enough and they haven't tapped it out too much and they still have money left over from all the other really expensive box sets that have come out, like Garden of Sinners and Fate Zero.
Okay. Well, I have to look it up. I'm not familiar with the show, so
Yeah, it's absolutely worth watching.
What was coming out from Funimation?
It's a really bloody, violent sci-fi series called Psycho Pass. That one, they've been simulcasting it for the last 2 cores. It's been running since fall of last year, and it just finished airing a couple of weeks ago. It's 22 episodes long, and they announced it for DVD and Blu-ray in spring of 2014.
What was the other news that you might have come across?
Other than that, there wasn't any really major news coming out of SakuraCon this year, which was a little disappointing. I was really hoping that there would be a lot more major news from some of the other companies. I think probably the only other thing that was really noteworthy was Viz Media confirming to me privately that they have the home video rights for the first Tiger and Bunny movie, which, if you haven't seen Tiger and Bunny, it's another series that's absolutely worth watching.
Okay.
And that was a really cool little piece of news because that wasn't something that they announced publicly. I asked them privately about that. They confirmed that for me, so.
That sounds really cool. Did you see anything of interest in the cosplay area?
The thing is with working at conventions and working as press is that you don't really have time to look around all that much. The most that I got to look around for cosplays was when I was waiting in line to get into panels. So there were some good cosplays. SakuraCon is really well known for having above average cosplays and having a lot of people who enjoy cosplaying. I didn't really look around all that much, but when we put up our wrap up on Ani.May later this week, we'll be including some good cosplay photos because my girlfriend was running around taking photos and she got some good images.
Me and my wife, we function as press at certain other conventions. We went to Anachrocon this last couple of weekends.
Uh-huh.
Although we tend to get to sit in the audience as opposed to like you sit as panelists, which, like you said, keeps you from actually participating and seeing some of the stuff. When I go around, I actually go around visiting different booths and actually interview other people who are sitting there in their booths and kind of get kind of news here.
Uh-huh.
Okay, let me see if I can get Amanda back in. She's wanted to try.
Yay!
It's exciting.
It is very exciting.
What are we talking about?
We were just talking about working at cons as press.
It's crazy. It gets really busy. I'm assuming you've already said that.
Oh yeah, totally. He was asking me about if I had a chance to look around at any of the cosplays at the con, and I was just mentioning that I was so busy that I didn't have a chance to really look up at all.
Oh, I did. I don't know how you can not. It's hard to not stop and gawk at people every now and again. The amount of Kirados and Asanas at this con was just staggering. I've never seen so many people cosplay the same character ever in my entire life. So that was kind of cool. I was really hoping to see some JoJo's Bizarre Adventure cosplay, but I didn't find any of that. But yeah, there was some pretty excellent cosplay. I was impressed.
Cool. Yeah, as I was telling the LB, I went to the Anachrocon, which is a steampunk convention. Well, it's amazing to see all the inventiveness people can get with their costumes. Yeah, unlike with anime, they have to pretty much invent themselves. Yeah, I love how everyone is really good at the costume skills.
Yeah, it's way beyond me. I can't cosplay hardly at all unless I'm buying my outfit. I can't make or sew to save my life.
I certainly can relate. I kind of wish I could uh, join it, but I just feel like I just can't feel like I fit in the characters. Like, I feel like I'm not doing the characters justice.
I think that's an important part of cosplaying too, is taking on the persona of the character you're dressed up as.
One of the things I always wanted to dress up as something in anime, but I'm trying to think. There aren't too many bearded characters, middle-aged characters that I can think of in anime. They're always teenagers that are recognizable, that fit my personalities as well.
You know, you could always cosplay as the perverted old Zen master.
Oh, then there is the cost of just the costumes themselves, just getting the materials and stitching them together.
You really have to have the dedication to be good at it, and you can always tell the people who put everything into what they're doing. It definitely shows in their cosplay.
I hopefully will get to visit AWA, that's Anime Week in Atlanta this year. I haven't been in the last few years, mostly because back in the day when I stopped going, I was mostly going there for the video rooms, and I realized that a lot of the stuff that were showing in the video rooms, I've already downloaded and watched. So, but I haven't been downloading anything in years myself, and
One of the really fun things that goes on at cons is when they have the big rooms where they're showing anime, and like when we watched the first episode of the dub of Sword Art Online, watching it with a big group of people like that who are as intensely into a show as you are, it's a blast. Everybody cheers at the cool parts and boos at the villains, and you forget just how much fun it is to watch anime with other people.
I guess it's I'm getting more into that with the Doctor Who conventions because I guess I get more camaraderie with them than I did with the anime back in the day when it was a lot more, I guess, harder to find fans that relate, which is getting a lot easier these days.
Yeah, the internet makes it all possible.
Yeah, geeks unite.
Oh yeah, totally.
So, Amanda, any news from you? LB was telling you about the various news he was having that he's reporting.
I got the various what?
Oh, was there any interesting news tidbits that you picked up this weekend that you thought were interesting or exciting?
I'm a huge fan of Psychopaths, so all of the Psychopath stuff made me really happy. And of course, everybody asked about a potential season 2, and they can't really say anything yet, and it's too soon for them to be able to announce a thing like that. But they did pretty much say they would all be down to do it again, and the executive director, he said that the last slide of the final episode, we all know what that means. So that was my favorite bit when they were saying that it's more than likely they'll get to come back for a second season. That made me very happy.
Have you got to visit any of the vendor rooms or
Oh, good Lord. I spent way too much money. I'm probably going to have to ship all my stuff home to myself because I don't think I can bring it all on the plane as carry-on. But I'm bringing home a couple of Sword Art Online figures, some Fate Zero little trading guys. I picked up some art in Artist Alley. I actually got a ton of magnets for my refrigerator from Artist Alley. I found the dealer room. The dealer room found me.
I've been looking for some good bumper stickers for my car. Had to replace my car just recently, and I was like, okay, and I gotta get new bumper stickers, and that's always a challenge in the vendor room.
It's true. That's not something you see a whole lot of anymore.
Yeah.
I really feel like this year it was all about the refrigerator magnets. Or that could be a Seattle thing. I don't know. There's never refrigerator magnets at my hometown cons in Texas. So that was really neat to see, but unusual.
Yeah.
And it was everywhere.
I'm always looking for some Macross bumper stickers and stuff, and it's gotten kind of rare for that.
It's true. I did see a killer Cheryl Gnome cosplay the first day of the con, and she just had the hair down perfectly. The gradient change in color in the hair, it was amazing. She was smoking hot.
Wow.
Like Cheryl Gnome should be.
Yeah, I get to see a lot of cosplay at Dragon Con, and it's just amazing. And just when I walk between the hotels, it's just everywhere you look, you see somebody in a great costume, and it's amazing how how involved the cosplay has become.
DragonCon is another convention that I would love to go to some year, but it's always on the same weekend as another local convention called KumoriCon, and so I just never been able to go. I've always wanted to, though.
Yeah, in Texas, it's in the same weekend as A-Fest, and A-Fest is the really good anime convention for people who enjoy the Japanese guests and stuff like that. For example, they've always got Daisato, who wrote Cowboy Bebop, at that con. So I could never go to Dragon Con because I always have to go to A-Fest, and that kind of bums me out, especially because I'm a big fan of a lot of general sci-fi nerdery stuff, and they usually pander to the things that I like pretty well at Dragon Con.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good to have these podcasts. We can each people kind of report amongst their areas because like I'm in the Atlanta area, so Dragon Con is in my. I actually work there in the space track, and it's interesting to see all these people. But at the times when I'm not walking and I'm wandering around the con, it's amazing. And likewise, I wish I could go visit outside of the metro Atlanta area to see some other places just to get out of this area sometimes. But travel costs and everything is always prohibits a lot of that.
Yeah, I
travel can
can
be
totally
expensive.
understand that.
Not to mention the hotel rooms themselves. It's getting scary. They know that if you want a room, they're gonna charge you an arm and a leg. Spend, especially downtown Atlanta. It's just
Oh man, if you think Atlanta is bad, try Los Angeles for Anime Expo.
and I can imagine New York too.
Oh yeah. New York, it's cheaper to just rent an apartment for a week instead of a hotel room.
Right. I remember there was one guy who made a joke about he went to the bank and asked a quick loan, and he sat there and said, "Okay, you can keep my car for collateral, and then I'll come back." And then they were like scratching their heads, wondering, I think he was asking for like $100 loan or something. And it's like, okay. And it's like, and then he went away for a month and then came back and paid it, and plus the little interest, and which was probably another couple of bucks. And they're asking, well, why? It's like, well, where else are you going to be able to park your car in New York for a couple of bucks for a month? It's it's just amazing how the major cities they know they've got the premium on the costs of for charging whatever, it's almost extortion really.
Oh yeah, it's insane, especially if you have a car in a major city, which is why I don't drive. As soon as I got to Seattle, I got rid of my car.
Yeah. One
Without
one
the
thing
car. You're crazy.
one thing I one tough lesson I learned here in Atlanta was to not use those little surface small parking lots where you pay for a slot. They can be cheap at times, but if you make the mistake of paying for the wrong slot and then come back and find your car booted, and you end up having to pay $70 to get your car unbooted. I found it is better to go to one of the parking decks and pay for a slot there where you don't have to worry about which slot you parked in.
Yeah.
And that even though you might pay a little bit more, that's worth not having to pay $70
Oh yeah.
to get a route. But enough of ranting, I guess. There's a lot of the smaller conventions like to around Atlanta take the hotels that are near the perimeter of Atlanta, which is a lot cheaper than downtown Atlanta, where they're always fun to go to. And I find smaller cons a lot easier to deal with too, unlike Dragon Con. There's just too much to see I
I
never.
can understand that. I mean, smaller cons have their charms as well, though, and I do enjoy going to a smaller con every so often. Like I said, like Kumori Con, that's in Vancouver, Washington. That only has a couple of thousand people visit each year, and it's a small con, and it's got a really nice home feel to it. Not like Sakura Con, which is 20,000 people or so.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a con in Dallas, All Con, and it's a good one. It's a smaller one, but the cosplay tends to be just over the top, and they pull for a slightly older age group, so everybody's of drinking age, and you can tell tends to be a much more grown up, a little bit the adult language comes out a little bit, and we get some really fun entertainment and panels and things like that. And it's also known as the Drinking Man's Con because the hotel that it takes place in, the bar is right in the middle of the bottom floor. So wherever you go, you're right next to the bar. It tends to influence the con. So that's fun. It's pretty small, but it's a good one.
Yeah. It's like say about Dragon Con. I never get around to go to the anime rooms or the Brit track, which of course is the Doctor Who stuff. And my wife also likes to go to the paranormal section, and it's like, oh, it's tough to pick and choose when it comes to such a huge general convention. So it's nice to have the smaller conventions where you can focus. So, any new animes either of you have watched that you really enjoy recently?
Well, the the winter season is winding down, and so a lot of our shows that we're watching have had their finales. And starting tomorrow, we actually have a brand new anime season, spring. And I know that LB is excited about some stuff. I'm excited about some shows that are coming up. So I think we're gonna have a good time with a whole bunch of new shows starting tomorrow.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Ori Emo 2 is going to be starting up. Uta no Prince Sama 2 is going to be starting up soon. Some shows that aren't sequels that I'm looking forward to are going to be starting up, like the new Gen Urobuchi show.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that one.
Yeah.
Susanoo Gargantia.
And what's those shows about? I'm still out of what's going to be brand new. I need to. I guess I should need to visit your website a little more often.
Yeah, we just put up our spring preview not too long ago.
Cool.
It
Actually,
really walks
spring
you through
preview
every
goes
single
up
episode.
the very tomorrow morning.
Okay, there you go. It'll
Um,
walk you through every single show that's coming out, so you can pick and choose the ones that you think are going to be pretty good. But I think there's a handful of really good stuff coming, and we've got a lot of sequel series, Oremo 2, Scientific Railgun S. There's going to be some really good stuff this season.
oh, that's nice. I'm still pretty much testing the Netflix and Hulu Plus about all the anime that's been out, and at least watching the first episodes, a lot of them, to see whether or not I think they're any good myself. And I've ran across Vampire plus Rosario, and I wasn't very impressed with it because I think they got a little carried away with the panty shots. I don't think I'll ever finish watching that. Then I saw
Well, then definitely don't watch High School of the Dead, because if you don't like Rosario Vampire, then you're definitely not going to like High School of the Dead.
Oh, okay. That was certainly take note with that a note because I saw that on the list. But particularly when it comes to comedies, it just seems to be got a little too cliche, a little way too predictable. Well, certainly the first episode, Vampire Rosario. It's like, okay, I see where this is going and that is going, and it's like, it's just I thought it was a big waste of time.
The thing is with anime comedies these days is that someone else pointed this out recently, and I think it's a really good point that's worth highlighting, is that a lot of comedies these days will have, a really silly, ecchi, dirty hook to get the otaku crowd interested, and then once you get past that, that's when you find, the real story and the real character development. You just have to get past that dirty, ecchi hook.
Yeah, that and I guess I must be getting really old or something. It just doesn't do anything for me. The other show that I also started watching and I found far more interesting was Angel Beats. It is certainly the premise of the seemingly little afterlife that there's a little hint of mystery and you got to figure out what's going on. And that was certainly a lot more appealing, and not even going down to the panty shot thing. I just went all off on it, and
Angel Beach is a good show.
so yeah, I watched a couple episodes. I knew I was like, okay, I'm pretty sure I'll end up watching the whole thing. I guess I kind of like also a little more dry comedy. Angel Beat, you knew that they were saying that the people they would die, but they'll be resurrected shortly after. So there was a lack of horror in that episode. It's like it was certainly more intriguing, I think. So anything else here? Anybody want to add any?
If you don't mind shameless plugs, then everyone please come visit ani.me, ani.me. Our new season preview goes up tomorrow morning, and we'll be covering the brand new season starting the first of the month. So check it out. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Sounds great. I need to start visiting your website personally. Yeah,
And you can always catch LB and I on Twitter. I am at the Animaven, and he is at Otaku Review.
Sounds great. And well, I think I've certainly about run out of things to say. And it's been really a pleasure to have you on our podcast.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
And, well, have a good night, everyone.
Have a good night.